Look at this thief! Everybody look! Derek Callahan's voice cut through the parking lot. He pointed at Marcus Bennett like he was directing a show. You really think you can park a $400,000 car in my plaza? Marcus turned slowly. His hands stayed visible. His voice came out calm. Sir, this is my car. I have the paperwork. Your car? Derek laughed, pulling out his phone. A Lamborghini? Yeah, right. Probably stolen this morning. His friend kicked the tire. The crowd grew. 20 people, then 30. Nobody said a word. Derek pulled out a lighter. Let's see what happens to thieves around here. Flames erupted. The Aventador's interior caught fire. Marcus stood perfectly still, watching $400,000 burn. His hand moved to his pocket, not frantically, deliberately. He pulled out his phone and dialed. What Derek didn't know was that this one phone call would destroy his entire life. 3 hours earlier, Marcus Bennett had pulled into Prestige Plaza with one goal: buy his mother a birthday gift. He was 28 years old, a civil rights attorney at Williams & Associates, Stanford Law, class of 2019. He'd spent 6 years saving for the car, now sitting in Space 47. The Aventador was midnight blue. The license plate read, Earned One. Every panel, every stitch of leather represented 80-hour work weeks. Scholarships that paid for undergrad. Student loans he'd just finished paying off last year. A childhood in South Chicago where his mother worked double nursing shifts so he could afford SAT prep books. Tonight was supposed to be simple. Park, shop, leave. Marcus grabbed his briefcase from the passenger seat. He straightened his navy suit jacket. The October air was cool. The plaza was busy with evening shoppers. He walked toward the boutique row. Storefronts glowed with warm light. Well-dressed couples strolled past. This was the kind of neighborhood his mother had cleaned houses in when he was young. Now he belonged here. Or so he thought. Derek Callahan sat at an outdoor cafe table with 2 friends, 3 drinks deep, maybe 4. He was 34 but looked older. Too many late nights, too much inherited money and not enough purpose. His father owned Callahan Properties. Derek held the title Vice President of Development. Everyone knew it meant nothing. He'd failed the bar exam twice, given up on law. His father had given him an office, a salary, and 0 real responsibility. Brad Hutchinson sat to his left. Trust fund, no job, professional rich kid. Kyle Morrison was the hanger-on. He laughed at Derek's jokes, agreed with everything, hoped some money would rub off. Derek saw Marcus park. His eyes narrowed. When did they start letting the help drive the clients' cars? Brad snorted into his whiskey. Probably a rapper. Or an athlete, Kyle added. Derek's jaw clenched. His father had cut his monthly allowance last week. Something about fiscal responsibility and earning your position. The lecture still burned. And now this guy pulls up in a car worth more than Derek made in a year. The unfairness of it gnawed at him. Marcus walked past their table. He didn't make eye contact, didn't acknowledge them, just walked with quiet confidence toward the shops. Derek stood. His chair scraped concrete. He grabbed his drink and moved into Marcus's path. Whoops. He spilled bourbon across the sidewalk. Drops hit Marcus's shoe. Marcus stopped, looked down, looked up. His expression stayed neutral. No problem. Have a good evening, gentlemen. He stepped around the spill and continued walking. That response made it worse. Derek wanted confrontation, or submission, or fear. Something that confirmed the natural order of things. This calm dismissal felt like disrespect. Did you see that? Derek turned to his friends. Guy doesn't even apologize. For what? Brad asked. For being where he doesn't belong. Inside the boutique, Marcus browsed silk scarves. The shop was called Maison Laurent, French-inspired, overpriced. His mother would never buy anything here for herself. That's exactly why he was buying it for her. The clerk approached. Her name tag read Maria. "Can I help you find something?" "A scarf, something elegant. My mother's turning 58 next week." Maria smiled. "What colors does she like?" "Deep purple or burgundy. She says they make her feel regal." They talked for 10 minutes. Maria showed him options, told stories about her own mother. Marcus relaxed. This was why he loved this neighborhood. People treated you like a person here, most people. Through the window, Derek watched. His resentment built with each passing minute. "Guy's probably maxed out 5 credit cards for that car," he muttered. "Maybe it's a rental," Kyle offered. "Or stolen." Derek's voice hardened. "Yeah, that makes more sense. Nobody like him earns a car like that." Brad raised an eyebrow. "Nobody likes him?" "You know what I mean." Brad did know. He'd known Derek since prep school, knew exactly what Derek meant when he said things like that. Marcus completed his purchase, $240 for a Hermes scarf. He tipped Maria $20 for her time and patience. "Your mother's lucky to have you," Maria said. "I'm lucky to have her." As Marcus left, Maria watched through the window. She saw Derek stand, saw him say something to his friends, saw all 3 of them move toward the parking lot. She felt a chill. She'd worked at this plaza for 3 years. She'd seen Derek harass people before. A Latino family last summer, an Asian couple in the spring, always when his father wasn't around, always when he had friends to perform for. She picked up her phone, pulled up the camera app, just in case. Marcus reached his car. The sun had set. Parking lot lights cast yellow pools across the pavement. He clicked his key fob. The Aventador's lights blinked, footsteps behind him. "Excuse me." Marcus turned. Derek and his friends formed a semicircle. They weren't close enough to be threatening, not yet. But the formation was deliberate. "Yes?" Marcus kept his voice level. "That your car?" "It is." Derek nodded slowly. "Interesting. We've had reports of stolen vehicles in this area. High-end cars. Aventadors specifically." Marcus's legal training kicked in. He recognized the setup. "I have all my documentation. Registration, insurance, proof of purchase. Would you like to see it?" "Yeah." Derek's smile didn't reach his eyes. "I would." A crowd began forming, evening shoppers on their way to cars. They sensed drama. Phones came out. Marcus pulled his wallet from his jacket, retrieved his registration, his insurance card, his driver's license. Derek examined them slowly. Too slowly. He held each document up to the light like he was checking for forgeries. Brad recorded everything on his phone. "These look professional," Derek finally said. "They're legitimate," Marcus replied. "Sure they are." Derek handed them back. "But here's the thing. These could be fakes, really good fakes." Kyle moved closer to the car. He peered through the windows. "Derek, I think I see something inside." Marcus's stomach tightened. He knew where this was going. "Sir, I'm going to ask you to step away from my vehicle." "Your vehicle," Derek laughed. He turned to the crowd. "Everybody hear that? He's getting defensive. Why would an innocent person get defensive?" A woman in the crowd whispered to her husband. "Should we call someone?" Her husband shook his head. "Not our business." Marcus pulled out his phone. "What are you doing?" Derek demanded. "Calling my attorney." "Your attorney." Derek's voice dripped sarcasm. "Of course you have an attorney on speed dial." Marcus started to dial. Derek's hand shot out. He grabbed Marcus's wrist. "I don't think so." The crowd gasped. Maria, watching from the boutique entrance, hit record on her phone. Marcus looked down at Derek's hand on his wrist. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, controlled. but something had shifted. Remove your hand. Now. Derek squeezed harder. Or what? Marcus didn't pull away. He stood perfectly still, his eyes locked on Derek's face. I said remove your hand. The crowd leaned in. 20 people, then 25, all watching, all filming. Derek let go, but he didn't step back. You've got an attitude problem, friend. I'm not your friend. Marcus put his phone away. And I've been nothing but cooperative. Cooperative? Derek turned to play to the crowd. This guy parks his probably stolen car in our neighborhood, gets confrontational when questioned. And now he's making threats. I haven't made any threats. I heard threats. Brad stepped closer. Definitely heard threats. Kyle nodded. Super aggressive. Marcus understood the game now. They were building a narrative, creating witnesses, constructing a story where he was the villain. His legal mind cataloged everything. Time, location, witnesses, every word spoken, every gesture made, evidence for later. Derek pulled out his phone. You know what? I'm calling the police. Let them sort this out. Good idea, Marcus said calmly. Ask for a supervisor. Derek's eye twitched. This wasn't the response he wanted. He dialed, put the phone to his ear. His smile returned. Hey, Mitch. Yeah, it's Derek. I'm at the plaza. We've got a situation here. He paused. Suspicious individual. Possible stolen vehicle. Guy's being really hostile. Marcus said nothing. He stood with his hands visible, his posture relaxed. His face is neutral. Every action is deliberate. Everything calculated to show restraint. I'm not being hostile, he said quietly. See? Derek pointed at Marcus while talking into the phone. Right there. That tone. Really threatening. Another pause. Yeah, Space 47. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. He hung up. Officer Mitchell's on his way. He'll straighten this out. I'm sure he will, Marcus replied. The sarcasm was subtle, but Derek caught it. You think this is funny? I think this is predictable. Derek's face reddened. What's that supposed to mean? It means I've seen this before. Seen what before? Marcus didn't answer. He'd said enough. Any more would be used against him. The plaza security arrived. 2 guards in gray uniforms. They approached from the boutique entrance. The lead guard was in his 50s. Gray hair, thick neck. His name tag read, Thompson. Mr. Callahan. Thompson nodded to Derek. Everything all right? Notice the order. He acknowledged Derek by name, didn't even look at Marcus. This individual is refusing to provide proof of ownership for that vehicle, Derek said. Marcus held up his registration. I showed him everything. He said it looked fake. Thompson finally glanced at Marcus. His expression was already decided. Sir, do you have proof of purchase? It's in the car, in my briefcase. Get it, please. Marcus moved to the driver's door. Derek stepped in his way. Not so fast. How do we know you're not grabbing a weapon? Thompson's hand went to his radio. Sir, step back from the vehicle. It's my vehicle. Step back. Now. Marcus raised his hands slightly. Stepped back. The crowd murmured. This is ridiculous, someone whispered. But nobody spoke louder. Nobody stepped forward. Thompson approached the car, looked through the window, saw the briefcase on the passenger seat. I'm going to retrieve your briefcase. Don't move. Marcus nodded, stayed still. Thompson opened the door, got the briefcase, brought it to Marcus. Open it slowly. Marcus opened the briefcase. Inside, legal documents. A laptop. A folder marked Bennett v. Morrison Industries. And a manila envelope. He pulled out the envelope. Inside was the bill of sale. Every detail is documented. date of purchase, VIN number, full payment receipt. Thompson examined it. His jaw tightened. Everything was legitimate. This could still be forged, Derek said quickly. It's not forged. Marcus's patience was wearing thin. Call the dealership, Prestige Motors on 5th Avenue. They'll confirm everything. We don't have to confirm anything, Derek snapped. This is private property. My father owns this plaza, and I want you off it. There it was, the real power dynamic. Thompson looked uncomfortable. Mr. Callahan, if his paperwork checks out, I don't care if it checks out. I want him gone. A siren chirped. Red and blue lights washed over the scene. A police cruiser pulled into the lot, parked at an angle, blocking Marcus's car. Officer Mitchell stepped out. He was in his early 40s, blonde hair, square jaw. He carried himself with the confidence of someone who'd never been questioned. He walked straight to Derek. They clasped hands, friendly, familiar. Derek, been a while. Too long, man. Thanks for coming. Mitchell turned to Marcus. His entire demeanor changed. Shoulders squared, hand near his belt. Sir, I need you to step away from the vehicle. Officer, this is my car. I didn't ask for your life story. I said step away from the vehicle. Marcus complied, stepped back 5 feet. Mitchell looked at Thompson. What do we have? Possible stolen vehicle. The subject's been uncooperative. I've been completely cooperative, Marcus said evenly. That's not for you to determine. Mitchell approached him. ID. Now. Marcus handed over his driver's license. Mitchell examined it. Called it in over his radio. Made Marcus wait. 5 minutes passed. The crowd grew larger. 40 people now, all filming. Maria stood at the boutique entrance. Her phone is steady, recording everything. Mitchell's radio crackled. License is valid. Registered to Marcus Bennett, no warrants, no priors. Mitchell's expression soured. What about the vehicle? Another wait, another 5 minutes. Vehicle registered to Marcus Bennett, no theft reports. Derek's face fell, then hardened. Officer, I saw him driving recklessly earlier, speeding through the plaza, at least 60 in a 25 zone. Marcus's head snapped toward Derek. That's a lie. I just arrived 30 minutes ago. Are you calling me a liar? Derek stepped closer. I'm saying you're mistaken. I saw what I saw. Derek turned to Brad. You saw it too, right? Brad nodded. Yeah, almost hit a kid. Kyle chimed in. Definitely saw it. Super dangerous. Mitchell pulled out a notepad. 3 witnesses to reckless driving. Sir, I'm going to need you to submit to a field sobriety test. Marcus stared at him. You're joking. Do I look like I'm joking? Marcus took a slow breath. Officer, I haven't consumed any alcohol. I'll gladly take a breathalyzer test. That's not your decision to make. Mitchell's voice was flat. Hands on the vehicle, feet shoulder-width apart. The crowd pressed closer, phones held high. This was the content they came for. Marcus placed his hands on the Aventador's roof. The metal was cool under his palms. This was the position, the one every black man feared. Hands visible. The body is vulnerable. One wrong move interpreted as resistance. Follow my finger with your eyes only. Don't move your head. Mitchell moved his pen left to right, up and down. Marcus followed perfectly. Now walk this line, heel to toe, 9 steps forward, turn, 9 steps back. Marcus walked the invisible line. Each step is precise. The crowd watched in silence. Count backwards from 100 by 7s. 100, 93, 86, 79, 72. Stop. Mitchell wrote something in his notepad. Stand on 1 foot, arms at your sides. Marcus complied. held the position for 30 seconds without wavering. Mitchell circled him like a predator studying prey. You seem nervous. I'm not nervous, I'm frustrated. Frustration can be a sign of impairment. Derek laughed from the sideline. He's definitely on something. Look at his eyes. Marcus's jaw clenched. He turned his head slightly toward Derek. Face forward, Mitchell barked. Marcus obeyed, but his hands curled into fists against the car. See that? Kyle pointed. Aggressive body language right there. I'm standing here taking your test, Marcus said through gritted teeth. With an attitude. Mitchell stepped closer. Why do you have an attitude, sir? Because I'm being accused of crimes I didn't commit. Innocent people don't get defensive. The logic was circular, Kafkaesque. No answer was the right answer. Mitchell completed the tests. Found nothing. No signs of impairment, no failed responses, nothing to justify his suspicion. His radio crackled. Unit 7, what's your status? Mitchell keyed the mic. Stand by. Requesting a K9 unit for vehicle search. Possible narcotics. Marcus's eyes widened. You're searching my car? Based on what? Based on reasonable suspicion. What reasonable suspicion? I passed every test you gave me. Your defensiveness, your attitude, your suspicious presence in this area. There it was, almost said out loud. Marcus pulled out his phone again. I'm calling my attorney right now. Go ahead, Derek said. My dad's lawyers will bury whatever public defender you dig up. Marcus started to dial. The crowd waited in tense silence. Before the call connected, Derek made his move. He walked casually to the Aventador, pulled his key from his pocket, ran it along the driver's side door. The scraping sound cut through the night like nails on a chalkboard. A 6-foot gash appeared in the midnight blue paint. Raw metal gleamed underneath. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Oops. Derek held up his key innocently. My bad. Car was parked so close to the walkway. Barely had room. Marcus ended the call. He took 3 steps toward Derek. Mitchell's hand went to his holster. Stop right there. Marcus froze, but his voice shook with controlled rage. You just vandalized my property, in front of 40 witnesses. Prove it. Derek smiled. I bumped into it by accident. These things happen in crowded parking lots. Everyone here saw you deliberately. Everyone saw me walking past a car. Derek turned to the crowd. Right? Just an unfortunate accident? Could it happen to anyone? Silence. People looked at their shoes, their phones, the pavement. Anywhere but at Marcus. Only Maria kept her camera steady, recording everything. Derek's confidence grew. He leaned through the cracked window Marcus had left open. Actually, Officer Mitchell, I think I see something suspicious in here. Marcus's stomach dropped. Don't you dare! What was that? Derek straightened up, mock concern on his face. Was that a threat? It's a warning. Don't plant anything in my vehicle. Plant? Derek's voice rose dramatically. Everyone hear that? He just admitted there might be something to find. Why else would he say plant? The crowd murmured. Whispers spread. The narrative was shifting before Marcus's eyes. Brad moved to the passenger side. Derek, I see something too. Looks like a bag in the back. There's nothing in my car, Marcus said firmly. Kyle joined them, peering through windows. Yeah, definitely something suspicious back there. Mitchell approached. Step aside, gentlemen. Let me conduct the search properly. But Derek didn't step aside. His hand went to his jacket pocket. Marcus saw it. The movement. The intent. Derek's fingers closed around something small. Get away from my car! Marcus's voice cracked with desperation. Whoa! Derek jumped back, hands raised. Did everyone see that? He just threatened me, verbally assaulted me. I didn't threaten anyone. You were reaching into your pocket. Reaching into my own pocket? Derek's eyes gleamed. What do you think I was about to do? Why are you so paranoid? Marcus stopped talking. The trap was perfect. Accuse Derek of planting evidence and sound crazy. Stay silent and let Derek proceed. No winning move existed. Mitchell pulled Derek back gently. Mr. Callahan, please. Let me handle this investigation. Officer, I feel genuinely threatened, Derek said. His voice carried the crowd. This man is clearly unstable, dangerous even. Sir, Mitchell turned to Marcus. His hand stayed near his weapon. Place your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers. You're arresting me? For what? I'm securing the scene while I conduct my investigation. Investigate what? I've done absolutely nothing wrong. You're being belligerent, interfering with a police investigation. You threatened a witness. I didn't threaten anyone. Marcus's voice rose. Finally, the calm was cracking. The crowd saw it. The angry black man, the aggressive suspect, the danger they'd been waiting for. Never mind that he'd been perfectly calm for 20 minutes. One moment of justified anger erased everything. Hands behind your head, final warning. Marcus complied. His fingers interlaced behind his skull. His jaw trembled with suppressed fury. Mitchell patted him down, roughly. More roughly than any protocol required. Hands invasive, demeaning. He's clean, no weapons. Derek stepped forward, pulled out his lighter. A silver Zippo. Initials DC engraved on the side. He flicked it open. The flame danced in the darkness. You know what? I'm tired of playing games. He walked toward the Aventador. Derek. Mitchell's voice held a warning, but not a strong one. What are you doing? Teaching a lesson about respect. Put the lighter away. Why? Derek turned the Zippo in his fingers. The car's probably stolen anyway. Insurance fraud. We'd actually be doing society a favor. Marcus's eyes widened. You cannot be serious. Dead serious. Derek's voice carried across the entire parking lot. This is our neighborhood, our plaza, our rules. People like you don't belong here. He lifted his glass, splashed the remaining bourbon through the cracked window. The alcohol spread across the leather seats. The smell is sharp and immediate. Derek, stop! Mitchell moved toward him, but slowly, not committed. More performance than intervention. Marcus jerked forward instinctively. Mitchell grabbed his arm hard, held him in place. Don't, Mitchell warned. He's going to destroy my car. Then maybe you shouldn't have provoked him. The words hung in the air. The accusation is crystal clear, victim blaming in real time. Derek stood at the driver's window, lighter in one hand, flame flickering orange. Last chance. Admit you stole it. Make this easier on everyone. I didn't steal anything, Marcus said. His voice was steady again, cold as ice. And you know it. Wrong answer. Derek dropped the lighter through the window. The interior erupted instantly. Flames spread across the bourbon-soaked leather, climbed the seats, reached for the dashboard. The fire moved faster than anyone expected. The crowd screamed, stumbled backward. But phones stayed up, still recording, always recording. Marcus lunged forward. Mitchell's grip tightened, held him back with force. Let me go! My car! It's evidence now. You move and I arrest you for interfering with an active investigation. Marcus stopped struggling. He stood frozen, watching the fire grow, orange and yellow and white hot. 6 years of savings, 80-hour weeks. Every sacrifice his mother made. Every night he chose work over sleep. Every moment of doubt he pushed through, gone in 90 seconds. Derek laughed, high and wild and triumphant. That's what you get. That's what happens. Brad and Kyle high-fived him. The three of them backed away from the intense heat. Still laughing, still filming each other. Thompson finally radioed for the fire department. His voice shook. Even now he looked uncomfortable. Maria kept filming from the boutique entrance. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but her hands stayed perfectly steady. A woman in the crowd finally found her voice. "This is wrong. Someone needs to stop them." Her husband grabbed her arm, pulled her back. "Let's just go, now." "But they just burned his car." "It's not our problem. Come on." They left. 10 others followed their lead. The spectacle was getting too real. The remaining crowd stayed for the show, for the content, for the story they'd tell later. Marcus stopped fighting Mitchell's grip. He stood perfectly still. Watched the fire consume $400,000. One tear rolled down his cheek. Just one. Then his face went blank. His hand moved slowly to his pocket. Found his phone. Derek saw it, smirked with satisfaction. "Go ahead. Call your lawyer. My dad owns half this city. This'll be buried by morning, and so will you." Marcus pulled out his phone. His thumb moved deliberately across the screen. "I'm not calling my lawyer." He pressed the dial, raised the phone to his ear. The crowd leaned in, sensing something different. Something is shifting. 2 rings. 3. A voice answered. Deep. Authoritative. Command in every syllable. Marcus's voice came out quiet, but in the silence, everyone heard every word. "Dad?" It happened again. Derek's smile faltered. "Dad? What's that supposed to mean?" Marcus kept the phone to his ear. His voice stayed calm. "Each word is deliberate. I kept my promise. I stayed calm. I documented everything. I have 30 witnesses and multiple videos." The voice on the other end spoke, deep, measured. Marcus listened. "Yes, sir. Prestige Plaza, Space 47. He paused. "The car you told me not to buy yet. It's gone." "Who the hell are you talking to?" Derek's voice rose, the confidence cracking. Marcus ignored him completely. "No, sir. I'm not hurt physically, but they need to be held accountable. All of them." Mitchell shifted his weight, something in Marcus's tone. The formality mixed with intimacy. The word "sir" came naturally. His hand slowly released Marcus's arm. "Dad, there's Officer Mitchell here. Badge number..." Marcus read it directly off the uniform. 77432. Mitchell's face went pale. "How do you..." "Put him on," the voice commanded, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Marcus held out the phone, extended it toward Mitchell. "He wants to speak with you." Mitchell stared at the phone like it was a live grenade. His hand trembled as he took it. He brought it to his ear. "Yeah, who is this?" The voice spoke. 5 seconds. That's all it took. Mitchell's face drained of all color. His knees actually buckled slightly. "Sir?" "Yes, sir. I didn't know. I had no idea who..." Another 10 seconds of listening. His eyes went wide. "Yes, sir. Immediately, sir. I understand completely, sir. Right away, sir." He handed the phone back to Marcus. His entire body shook. He stepped away from Marcus like he'd been touching something sacred he shouldn't have touched. Derek watched, confusion turning to anger. "Mitch, what the hell? Don't let him manipulate you with some phone trick." Mitchell spun on him. "Derek, shut your mouth. Right now. Just shut up." "What? He's just some random..." "I said shut up." The authority in Mitchell's voice silenced the entire parking lot. Derek opened his mouth, closed it, looked around for support. Headlights appeared at the plaza entrance. 3 black SUVs, Cadillac Escalades, tinted windows. They moved with purpose. No sirens, but the presence was unmistakable, federal, official, powerful. They entered the parking lot in formation, tactical, surrounding the scene from 3 angles. The vehicles stopped. Engines cut simultaneously. 6 men in dark suits emerged, earpieces visible, hands near their jackets, federal agents, the real kind. And from the center vehicle, the rear door opened. A tall black man stepped out, 65 years old, gray at the temples, impeccable dark suit, American flag pin on his lapel. He moved with the confidence of someone who'd walked into hostel rooms his entire life and commanded them. The crowd recognized him instantly. Oh my God. That's the Attorney General? The actual Attorney General of the United States. Derek's face went slack. All colors were drained. No, that's not possible. Not. Attorney General Jonathan Bennett walked across the parking lot. The federal agents flanked him at a respectful distance. He walked directly to Marcus. Father and son stood face to face. Jonathan's expression was controlled, but his eyes showed concern. You kept your composure. Jonathan's voice carried authority even in personal moments. I'm proud of you. Marcus nodded once. I remembered what you taught me. Document everything. Stay calm. Let them reveal who they really are. Jonathan looked at the burning Aventador. Fire department sirens approached in the distance. Your mother is going to be very upset. She specifically told you not to buy this car yet. Marcus managed a small smile. She was right. As always. Jonathan turned to face the crowd. When he spoke, his voice carried across the entire parking lot. I am Attorney General Jonathan Bennett. This is my son, Marcus Bennett. He is a civil rights attorney who has broken no laws tonight. The crowd stood frozen, phones still recording. But now the story had changed completely. Derek stumbled backward, his face ashen. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know who he was. Jonathan's gaze locked onto him. You didn't need to know who he was. You just needed to treat him like a human being. The words landed like physical blows. Jonathan continued. His voice is calm but carrying the weight of federal authority. Over the past 18 months, my office has received 47 formal complaints about this plaza. Complaints involving racial profiling, harassment, and systematic discriminatory practices. He let that sink in. The crowd murmured. My son didn't tell me he would be here tonight, but when he called, I realized this was the same location from those complaints, the same patterns, the same players. Jonathan gestured to an unmarked van across the street. White, commercial, forgettable. That van has been monitoring this location for 6 weeks. Audio and video surveillance equipment, federal agents inside. Derek's legs gave out. He sat down hard on the pavement. Everything that happened here tonight was recorded, Jonathan continued. The false accusations, the illegal search, the vandalism, the attempted evidence planting, and the arson, all of it documented with federal-grade equipment. Brad tried to run. 2 agents moved so fast he didn't make it 5 steps. They had him on the ground in seconds. Kyle put his hands up immediately. I didn't do anything. I was just here. I didn't touch anything. You provided false testimony to a police officer, one agent said. That's a federal crime when it's part of a civil rights violation. Jonathan turned to Mitchell. The officer looked like he might vomit. Officer Mitchell, you responded to a false report. You conducted an illegal search without probable cause. You stood by during a felony assault and arson. And based on your body camera footage, which is being subpoenaed as we speak, you demonstrated clear racial bias in every action you took. Sir, I was just responding to a call. You were enforcing your prejudices. There's a difference. A female federal agent approached, mid-40s, severe expression. She held a tablet. Sir, we have everything. The key scraping the paint, the lighter, clear audio of the threats, multiple angles. Jonathan nodded. Officer Mitchell, you have 10 seconds to arrest the individuals responsible for arson, destruction of property, filing false reports, and attempted evidence tampering. Mitchell's hand went to his handcuffs, fumbled them, dropped them. Or, Jonathan continued, I will add obstruction of justice to your charges. Your choice. 10, 9, 8. Mitchell scrambled for his handcuffs, picked them up, approached Derek with shaking hands. "Derek Callahan, you're under arrest for arson, destruction of property." Derek tried to crawl away. An agent's foot stopped him. "Get off me! Do you know who my father is?" "I do." Jonathan's voice cut through Derek's panic. "Robert Callahan, owner of Callahan Properties. I'll be calling him next. This plaza is now under federal investigation for civil rights violations. As the owner, he's legally liable for creating and maintaining a discriminatory environment." Mitchell got Derek in handcuffs, read him his rights. Derek was crying now. "Please, please, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. I'll pay for the car. I'll pay double, please." Marcus stepped forward, looked down at Derek on the ground. "You didn't need to know who my father was to treat me with basic human dignity. That's the point you're still missing." Brad and Kyle were cuffed next, both crying, both begging. The crowd had swelled to over 60 people now. Everyone is filming. This would be viral within the hour. Maria emerged from the boutique. She approached Jonathan hesitantly. "Sir, I recorded everything from the beginning, from when they first confronted him." Jonathan smiled at her. It was warm, genuine. "What's your name?" "Maria Gonzalez." "Ms. Gonzalez, thank you. Your video evidence will be crucial. One of my agents will take your statement." "I should have done more," Maria said quietly. "I should have stepped in." "You did more than most." Marcus touched her shoulder. "You provided evidence. You didn't look away. That matters." The fire department arrived, began extinguishing what remained of the Aventador. The crowd parted for them. Jonathan addressed the bystanders. His voice is hard now. "To everyone who stood here and watched this happen without intervening, shame on you. One woman tried to help and was pulled away. Everyone else took out their phones to record but not to call for help, not to stand up, not to speak out." The crowd shifted uncomfortably, guilt visible on faces. "This is how injustice thrives," Jonathan said. "Good people choose comfort over courage, choosing content over character." A news van pulled up. Channel 7. Then Channel 4. The federal agents had tipped them off. This was going to be a statement. Jonathan turned to Mitchell. "Your badge and weapon. Now." Mitchell unclipped his badge with trembling hands, handed over his service weapon. A female agent took both. "You're suspended pending a federal investigation. We'll be reviewing every arrest you've made in the past 5 years, every stop, every report, looking for patterns." "I have a family, so do the people you've harassed." Jonathan's voice was ice. "Should have thought about that before you decided which citizens deserved protection and which deserved suspicion." A silver Mercedes pulled into the lot, drove too fast, parked erratically. Robert Callahan emerged. Late 60s, expensive suit, silver hair, usually commanded respect in any room. Tonight he looked old, diminished, aging in real time. He approached Jonathan. "Attorney General Bennett. I had no idea. If you had known he was my son?" Jonathan interrupted. "What about the other 47 complaints? What about them?" Robert Callahan opened his mouth, closed it, had no answer. The female agent handed him a document. "Mr. Callahan, this is a federal subpoena for all business records related to this property, lease agreements, tenant selection criteria, security protocols, HR files, all communications, everything. This will destroy my business." "Your business was built on discrimination," Marcus said. "It destroyed itself." Jonathan's phone rang. He answered. "Yes, Mayor, I understand your concern. No, this is not a political move, it's a legal one." He paused. "I appreciate that. Thank you." He hung up, looked at Marcus. The mayor sends his regards. Apparently, he's received 12 calls in the last 10 minutes about this incident. Marcus pulled a folder from his briefcase. The one that survived the fire. He handed it to Robert Callahan. I represent 5 of your discrimination victims, Mr. Callahan. I've been building this case for 6 months. Tonight wasn't a setup. I was here legitimately. Your son chose to be exactly who you raised him to be. Derek sobbed on the ground. Dad, fix this. You always fix things. Please! Robert Callahan looked at his son, then at Jonathan, then at the cameras. He said nothing, just turned and walked back to his Mercedes, left his son there in handcuffs. The crowd saw it. The abandonment. The reality of consequences. Jonathan addressed the press. Reporters pushed forward with microphones. Tomorrow I'm announcing a federal task force. We'll be investigating discriminatory business practices in affluent neighborhoods nationwide. My son's experience tonight is not unique. It's systematic. And it ends now. The camera flashes. Reporters shouting questions. This would lead every news broadcast. Marcus watched his car smolder. The fire department had it out now. Just smoke and twisted metal remained. A symbol destroyed. But something bigger gained. Maria approached him again. Mr. Bennett, I'm so sorry I didn't do more earlier. You did what mattered, Marcus said. You bore witness. You provided the truth. Thank you. The female agent approached Jonathan. Sir, we're receiving calls. Witnesses coming forward. 37 so far with similar experiences at this plaza, including 2 of Derek Callahan's former college classmates. They have documented incidents going back 6 years. Jonathan nodded. Get statements from all of them. This is bigger than tonight. He turned to Marcus, put a hand on his son's shoulder. You did good tonight. Stayed calm under impossible circumstances. Made me proud. Learned from the best, Marcus said. Father and son stood together, watching the wreckage, both knowing this was just the beginning. 72 hours later, the story dominated every news cycle. Derek Callahan, Brad Hutchinson, and Kyle Morrison faced federal charges. Arson, destruction of property, filing false police reports, conspiracy to violate civil rights, attempted evidence tampering, combined bail set at $500,000. Robert Callahan refused to pay, told reporters his son needed to face the consequences of his choices. The 3 men sat in county jail, separated, each facing 2 to 5 years. Derek's social media became a graveyard. The video had 15 million views in 48 hours. Every comment section is brutal. His accounts were deleted. Too late. Screenshots lived forever. His employer, his father's company, issued a statement. Derek Callahan has been terminated effective immediately. His actions do not reflect our values. Brad lost his trust fund. His family's lawyer released a statement cutting him off financially. Bradford must learn accountability. Kyle lost his job at a tech startup, fired within 12 hours of the video going viral. Officer Mitchell sat at home, suspended without pay. Internal Affairs had opened his file, found 23 prior incidents of bias in his arrest records, traffic stops with no cause, searches without warrants, excessive force reports, all targeting minorities, all buried in paperwork, all now under federal review. His police union distanced themselves. We cannot defend actions that violate department policy and constitutional rights. Mitchell's wife filed for separation, took the kids to her mother's, told him she didn't recognize the man she married. Robert Callahan watched his empire crumble in real time. The federal investigation expanded to 8 of his properties. Subpoenas delivered to every office. Agents combing through decades of records. Complaints flooded in. Flooded. 74 in the first week. People who'd been silent for years found their voices. Black families denied housing. Latino businesses refused lease renewals. Asian vendors charged higher fees, all documented, all patterns. 3 major national chains broke their leases at Prestige Plaza. Target, Apple, Whole Foods, public statements about incompatible values. The plaza's property value dropped 40% in 3 days. Callahan faced potential fines exceeding $25 million. His legal fees already reached $2 million. Banks called in loans. Investors pulled out. Partners filed lawsuits to dissolve business relationships. The media wouldn't let it go. Every network covered it. Morning shows, evening news, cable news panels debated it for hours. This is what systemic racism looks like. Finally, real consequences for discrimination. The Attorney General's son. Imagine what happens to people without powerful relatives. Social media exploded. Justice. For Marcus trended for 5 days straight. Millions of shares, millions of comments, counter-narratives tried to emerge. It was just a misunderstanding. Derek made a mistake. This is being blown out of proportion. But the video was too clear. The evidence too damning. The pattern is too obvious. An online fundraiser appeared. Replace Marcus Bennett's car. Goal, $400,000. It hit $800,000 in 3 days. Marcus issued a statement. I'm grateful for the support, but I don't need 2 Lamborghinis. Every dollar above the car's value will go to the Civil Rights Legal Defense Fund. $400,000 donated to victims who couldn't afford attorneys. Maria Gonzalez received $50,000, a reward fund for witnesses who speak up. She cried when she heard. I just did what was right, she told reporters. That's exactly why you deserve it, Marcus replied. The plaza security guards were all fired, Thompson included. Thompson, the security company, lost their contract with Callahan Properties. New ownership took over. A consortium of investors. 3 black business leaders. 2 Latino entrepreneurs. 1 Asian American developer. They renamed it Unity Center. Announced mandatory civil rights training for every employee. Diversity quotas for tenants. Community oversight boards. The transformation was symbolic. But symbols matter. 6 weeks passed. The courtroom was packed. Media in the back rows. Victims in the gallery. Cameras outside because they weren't allowed inside. Derek, Brad, and Kyle stood before the judge. All had pleaded guilty. Their lawyers negotiated deals in exchange for testimony against Robert Callahan. Derek looked different. Thinner. Hollow-eyed. Orange jumpsuit instead of designer clothes. Hands cuffed. The judge reviewed the charges, the evidence, the impact statements from victims. Mr. Callahan, the prosecution recommends 2 years incarceration. Do you understand? Derek nodded. Yes, Your Honor. Does the victim wish to make a statement? Marcus stood. Walked to the podium. The courtroom fell silent. He looked at Derek. Derek couldn't meet his eyes. Your Honor, these men didn't just burn my car. They tried to burn my dignity, my humanity, my right to exist in a public space without suspicion. His voice was calm, measured, but every word landed with weight. I bought that car to honor my mother. She worked double shifts so I could afford law school. That car represented her sacrifices, her belief in me. They tried to reduce it to theft, to criminality, to justify their hatred. Derek's shoulders shook. Silent tears. But here's what they didn't understand. I didn't buy that car to prove anything to them. I bought it because I earned it, because I worked for it, because in America, that's supposed to be enough. Marcus paused. Let the words settle. That said, Your Honor, I've read the letters they've written, the therapy reports, the community service hours they've already started from jail. The prosecutor looked surprised. The defense attorneys leaned forward. I don't believe in throwing away human potential. I believe in accountability that leads to growth. So I'm asking this court to consider alternative sentencing. The gallery murmured. Derek's head snapped up, confusion and hope on his face. 1 year in county jail, followed by 4 years probation with mandatory conditions. Marcus outlined them: 1,000 hours of community service with civil rights organizations, monthly racial bias education programs, public speaking at schools about discrimination and consequences, permanent prohibition from property management or public accommodation businesses, and quarterly meetings with Marcus himself to demonstrate changed behavior. Why? The judge asked. Why show them this mercy? Marcus turned to face Derek. Because someone showed me mercy once. Because redemption has to be possible, or justice is just revenge. Because I want to believe people can change. He looked back at the judge. And because the system that enabled them needs changing more than they need punishing. The judge considered. This is highly unusual, but given the victim's wishes, she paused. The court accepts this recommendation. Derek collapsed into his chair, sobbing openly now. Thank you. Thank you. I don't deserve... You're right, Marcus said quietly. You don't deserve it. That's what makes it mercy. The judge sentenced Brad and Kyle to similar terms. All three accepted immediately. As they led Derek out, he stopped, looked at Marcus. Why would you do this for me? Marcus met his eyes. Because someone has to break the cycle. Outside the courthouse, Jonathan waited. Father and son walked to the car together. You surprised me there, Jonathan said. Good surprise or bad surprise? Proudly surprised. Jonathan smiled. You're a better man than I am. I learned from you, Dad. No. Jonathan put his arm around Marcus. You learned from your mother. They drove away, cameras flashing behind them. The next chapter begins. They say success is the best revenge. Marcus stood at the podium. Stanford Law School. 300 graduating law students stared back at him. But I learned something different that night in the parking lot watching my car burn. The auditorium was silent. Everyone knew the story. 15 million views, every news network, a cultural moment. Success without character is just wealth. Justice without mercy is just vengeance. Change without education is just punishment. He clicked the first slide. Statistics filled the screen. 67% of discrimination incidents go unreported. Victims fear retaliation. They lack resources. They don't believe anything will change. The numbers were stark, undeniable. Derek Callahan never questioned his right to judge me. 34 years of never facing consequences. His father built an empire where discrimination was simply how business worked. Marcus moved from behind the podium, closer to his audience. Officer Mitchell, security guards, bystanders, all part of the same system, all protecting the same power structure. Next slide. More data. Only 3% of discrimination complaints result in federal charges. 3%. That means 97% of the time, nothing happens. He paused. Let that sink in. This isn't about one bad person. It's about structures that let bad people thrive. Systems designed to protect power instead of people. His voice grew quieter, more personal. I could have demanded maximum sentencing. My father wanted me to. Prosecutors pushed for it. Social media screamed for blood. But I remembered what my mother taught me. Hurt people hurt people. Healed people heal people. Marcus gestured to the front row. His mother, Jonathan, Maria. Derek needed accountability that leads somewhere. A path back to humanity. Because if people can't change, what's the point of any of this? The audience leaned forward, engaged, thinking. But here's the truth. I had resources his other victims didn't have. A powerful father, federal protection, legal knowledge, Media attention. His voice hardened. What about the people without those things? The single mother denied housing? The teenager stopped and frisked weekly? The family rejected loans they qualified for? They fight the same fight with none of the weapons. Next slide. Impact numbers. Since that night, our task force has investigated 187 businesses, 34 major settlements, $89 million, 12,000 employees trained. Discrimination complaints are down 22% in targeted areas. Real change, measurable impact. Another slide. Darker numbers. But nationally? 73,000 complaints filed annually, 439 million in settlements, yet only 15% of witnesses intervene. 15%. That means 85% of people just watch, just record, just stay comfortable. Marcus's voice rose with passion. Every person in that parking lot made a choice. Most chose comfort. Maria chose courage. He pointed to Maria in the front row. She wiped tears, raised her hand slightly. Which one are you? He returned to center stage. Final slide. Here's what you can do, starting now. 1. Be the witness who acts. Record, report, intervene safely. Your footage might be someone's only evidence. 2. Examine your bias. We all have it. Test yourself. Get uncomfortable. It's necessary. 3. Support victims. Donate to legal funds. Back legislation. Amplify voices without speaking over them. 4. Hold businesses accountable. Tell them why you're leaving. Support diverse owners. Demand transparency. 5. Share stories like this, not for clicks, because someone needs to know they're not alone, because the next Derek might choose differently, because the next bystander might find courage. Marcus gripped the podium. The night my car burned, I chose purpose over anger. Every day you'll face the same choice in smaller moments. A racist joke, unfair treatment, different standards, small moments, everyday injustice. What will you choose? He looked directly at them. You're becoming a lawyer, officers of the court. You have real power now. Use it for people without power. Fight for those who can't fight. Be uncomfortable. Be inconvenient. Be the change. His voice softened. Derek works in a prison law library now, helping inmates file civil rights complaints. Last month he wrote to me, said he's finally understanding what he couldn't see. Is he redeemed? I don't know, but he's trying. And trying matters. Justice isn't a spectator sport. It requires all of us. The screen showed final words. Based on 47 real cases, real people, real change is possible. What will you choose? Share if you believe people can change. Share if you believe in accountability. Comment. Have you witnessed discrimination? What did you do? The choice is always yours.